Welcome to I Am One, where I am one with the Creator and one with myself. Today is a special day to me because today would have been my late mother's 88th birthday. And she was a woman of faith. She was a woman of conviction. She was a woman of strength. She was a woman of don't mess with me, don't get in my way because I have things to do. And she's been gone now 13 years. But today is still as special a day as it was when she was on this side of the veil. And so today I want to do a quick birthday reading on behalf of my mother. And I pulled out the Wild Unknown Tarot cards and the Wild Unknown Animal cards. And I did just one drawing from each of those decks. And I asked the spirit, what would be my mother's word for us today? And I drew the Nine of Wands and I drew the Wolf card. And these are so like my mother. So the wands in this deck speak of strength, stamina, and confidence. And the wolf speaks of guardian of the family or the tribe. It also speaks of activism and ritual. And that encompasses what my mother was. Now, that doesn't mean she was perfect. That doesn't mean she didn't do things wrong. That doesn't mean she didn't have to apologize for things she did or said. Doesn't mean any of that. But what it does speak about is that she had fierce strength. And she truly was the guardian of our family. She used to say, my father was the head of the household, but she was the captain of the ship. Always said that. So she always reminded us. She knew who my father was and the role that he played in our family, but she also knew who she was and the role that she played. And she truly was, even though my father was the head of the household, yes, and he's still with us. He was the head of the household, but she was the captain of the ship. And she guarded us with a fierce love, almost to a fault. And I'll dare say to a fault, because sometimes the grip was so tight, there wasn't room for expression. There wasn't room to be free to experience and so forth and so on. So while there are pluses, there are also minuses. While there are pros, there are also cons. While there are positives, there are also negatives, as is with each of us. So I never want to paint a picture of my mother as that she had it all together, because she didn't, just like I don't have it all together. And we all strive to get to that place. But when I saw that I drew the Nine of Wands, it speaks to the fact that we're all on a journey. And the Nine of Wands speaks to when you're going up this staircase, it speaks to the point that when you're getting up to that ninth level, you are almost at the end of the journey, whatever that journey may be. It may be your physical journey on this side of the veil. It may be the end of a journey, that a project or an endeavor that you're working toward. You're almost at the end. And when you get close to the end, sometimes, and marathon runners can attest to this, there is some point in the race where you get to, and I don't know, I think it's like somewhere in like the 20th mile, or because the marathon is 26 miles or something like that. So close to the end of the race, there's a point where the runner gets to where they have endured and they have ran and they have, tried to rehydrate themselves, and they have tried to, encourage themselves to keep going on and not give up. Their legs are tired, they're giving out, and they continue to go and they continue to go. But there's some point in that race where you know that you're almost there and you don't have much further to go, and you hit the wall. And there's a point where you just want to give up because in your mind, you're like, what am I doing all this for? Is this really worth all the pain and aggravation? Is this really worth all the struggle that I have to go to get to the finish line. And this is the point where you can either persevere and climb over that wall and say, to hell with you, I'm going to make sure I finish. Or you say, you know what, it's not worth it. Let me just stop because I can't take any more. This is that point where you have to say, I have to keep going. And as I said, my mother was deep in her faith. She was a devout Christian, Pentecostal, to the day she breathed her last breath. And a Bible verse came to my remembrance in dealing with this card, and it's Galatians. Let me find it again. Hold on. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, and it says, "Let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Basically, it says you are staying the course. You are doing all that you can do. You are doing well. You are running as hard as you can. Don't give up now, because the prize is almost there. Do not get weary, and you're doing well, because if you don't, you will see the victory. You will reap the benefits of your labor. You will see the harvest come to fruition. You will be able to reap. I'm a gardener. I'll be able to reap those cucumbers, reap those zucchini, reap those tomatoes, reap whatever it is that I put in the ground and I nurture. And when the season's end comes, I'll be able to take advantage, to partake of, to see the fruit of my labor. Don't give up now. Go all the way. My mother also says in this reading, the wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. To those of you who are leaders, whether you're a mother, your father, you're a supervisor, you're a business owner, you're the shift manager, whoever this applies to, and you're over a group, and it doesn't have to be you're over hundreds of thousands. You may be over 2 or 3. You may be over 10 or 15. You may be over just your immediate family. But whoever you're over, you have the responsibility of paying attention to the well-being of your group, paying attention to the well-being of those you have charge over. Not just for the moment, but for the span of time that you have over them. So what does that mean? It means sometimes your good intentions will be misunderstood, will be mistaken, will be unappreciated in the moment. But don't you dare stop seeking the best, looking at the big picture. And that's the thing about the leaders. You see the big picture. Those under you only see the right now, only see it until the next 7 days. They only see what matters right now. You're trying to paint a picture of what can be, of what we are striving for, what our ultimate goal is. But all they can see is the here and now. And so your responsibility as the leader, as the overseer, as the leader of the pack, the mama wolf, the daddy wolf, the head honcho, your responsibility is not to give up on those who you are over. While they resist, while they fight, while they must misunderstand, why they think you don't have their best interests at heart. Your responsibility is to help them see the big picture. And sometimes just take them along until they can see it. And sometimes allow them to cut the cord and go on their own until they can see it. My mother says to you today, don't just stop at the 9th step. Don't just stop at the 23rd mile. Don't just stop at, the 1 yard line for football players. Don't just stop there just because you can see the end. You are not there until you cross that finish line. The family isn't there. The team isn't there. Your coven isn't there. Your sphere of influence isn't there until you all cross over. So do not be weary now. You're doing well. But if you want to see the manifestation, if you want to see the harvest, if you want to partake of all of your hard labor, you've got to go, you've got to take it, you've got to meet the mission. And while you get resistance from those, for lack of a better word, under you, or under your supervision, under your tutelage, under your grasp, under your responsibility, while you get resistance, while you get complaints, and you know that they're talking behind your back, don't let it stop your forward motion. They will thank you. And they may not ever do it to your face, but in the work that you see, in the harvest that comes forth, they will get the picture. They will understand by and by. So I hope that blesses you today. I hope that helps you move forward through this week and beyond as you continue in your journey. And with that, peace and blessings to you all.